Now, if you watched my channel before, you know that I'm a huge fan of what Genesis is doing when it comes to design. To me, it's always crazy to think about that Genesis is only a decade-old brand, and they're still pumping out designs like this. This has some very cool features in the interior. This, of course, the Genesis GV60. This is available for sale here at Genesis, McDonald Genesis in Denver. I'm going to link it down below. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at this EV. Up to close to 500 horsepower, 235 miles of range. We got these beautiful 21-inch wheels here as well. Wheels is something that Genesis is doing very, very well. Doesn't matter if it's an EV or an internal combustion engine. We don't have these big plate designs for wheels like we have on a lot of other EVs. These actually look great. So we're going to have a look at the front end design, the side view, the rear, the interior, of course, and then we're going to take this for a drive. The 2025 Genesis GV60 Performance is powered by two motors, one on each axle, all-wheel drive, of course, 429 horsepower. You got 483 horsepower with the boost button, 516 pound-feet of torque. You do have 350 kilowatt fast charging, 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack. 0 to 60 takes about 3.7 seconds. Range comes out to about 235 miles, and the base price for this is just under $70,000. Now, starting with the front-end design, and Genesis, as I've said before, they have such a strong brand DNA right now. The design DNA is on point. We have the two-line design intact here in the GV60 as well. You can see it right here on the headlights. We also have a grille that makes this look not like, a covered-up EV front fascia. I really like to see that. You have the front-mounted camera located right here in this small little triangle. We have the Genesis logo up top. And overall, I think it's a very, very clean design. It does have a lot of personality to it. That is what I want to see when it comes to EVs. Not these bland computers on wheels. We want to have an expression in the front face. And I do think the GV60 does that really well. Another cool feature about Genesis is their headlight designs. If you looked at the GV90, I do believe, it had this array of small little cubes, LED cubes inside of the headlight unit. This has a similar design to that, even though the cubes here are a little bit bigger than what we have on the GV90, for example. Still looks very unique. I do love the 3D effects that we have with these cubes inside there. And it's very cool to see that headlight designs or headlight technologies come this far. We can have small cubes like this and still have the full functionality of a completely functional headlight unit. That's not something we saw just 5 years ago. Now, when it comes to the exterior design overall for the GV60, I think it has its personality all around. You can clearly tell, of course, this is a Genesis just looking at the front face. And I've always said this, like, if I were to work as a car designer today, I probably would go to the South Korean brands because I feel like they have so much fun designing new vehicles. And I think this is a great example of that. I also like that the A-pillar here is completely blacked out, in contrast with the white exterior that I have, the small little black graphics all around the greenhouse, for example, and the A-pillar, the side mirror here as well, are looking pretty clean. Now, this is the first car I think I've ever seen that you can actually open the car using your face. So just as you unlock your phone with your face, you can also unlock this GV60 with your face, because on the other side, on the driver's side, you do have this little camera in the B-pillar. So you just put your face right there, and the car unlocks itself. Very, very cool feature from Genesis. I also like the styling here with this graphics, even though I do wish this part right here would be black, because you can see we have, as we talked about, the black A-pillar right here. We have this chrome trim piece up here. This, kind of want to see this be black as well. You have the flush-mounted door handles here as well, and we have the black graphics coming back in the lower section right there. One thing that Genesis is always doing very, very well, we talked about this already, is, of course, the wheel design. So you have 21-inch wheels, 255mm wide tires. The wheel design overall, I think, look great on this vehicle. They suit the overall design. They have this sharp, still elegant vibe to them. Now, look at the overall proportions again and the line flow that we have going on for the GV60. We don't really have any sort of sharp lines in this, and I think it suits this vehicle to have the smooth surfaces that we have here. We have one key line, that is this line at the bottom, that pretty much every single car manufacturer are putting on their cars, and that is to carve out this volume that we have in the lower section of the vehicle, make it feel a little bit more nimble. But again, these wheels, thankfully, they're not black. They're gunmetal. This is exact color of the finish that I want to see more car companies do with their wheels. We got too many black wheels. It's overplayed. It's time to bring back classic styling like we have right here. And I also want to show you this. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to zoom in on it. But this is the facial recognition camera sitting right there in the B pillar to open and unlock the vehicle. Now, coming on to the rear end of the GV60, beautiful design here as well. You can see the two-line design coming back from the headlight unit into these very, very gorgeous looking features here. Very dynamic, juicy taillights. You go from thin in the center to wider at the side here, looking beautiful. I also like that we have the separation of the body color here, and you can see we follow the separation. It goes straight in to the line where Genesis is spelled out in the back. Looking beautiful. Genesis and design, they must have hired, I mean, Donkerbolke. He's still the chief designer of Genesis. And I mean, if you've designed the Lamborghini Murcielago, for example, I think you have you know, a little bit of know-how how to design cars. He was also part of this beautiful GV60 right here. Now, there are a couple of things in the back here that I personally would like to redesign and restyle if it was up to me. For example, this silver piece down here, where you have the license plate holder. The license plate feels like it's just sitting on top of a flat surface. I want to have more of a housing for the license plate holder, but that's just a small little detail. Another interesting feature is you have the reverse lights being located all the way down here at the very bottom of the graphics. We also have some fake air vents or air outlets right here, which I think it's okay to have those because it feels like they're naturally integrated in the overall back end of the Genesis. But let me know what you think about this design. To me, I think it's one of the better looking, if not the best looking, small EV on sale right now. I like the proportions, I like the fluidness, the organic vibe that we have that we're missing in so many other EVs today. That is the reason why I think this is one of the best looking EVs in this class that we have on sale today. And Genesis overall, I mean, they're just crushing it in general. I also want to bring your attention to this because we do have a brake light all the way up here integrated in the spoiler. But let's open the trunk up. Let's see what we got hiding under here. This is, of course, almost a coupe SUV. But in this case, this does not look front heavy, and that is usually the problem I have, as you know, with coupe SUVs. Removing the mass in the bag is going to make this feel front heavy. However, in this case, this was not designed to be a proper hatchback from the beginning. It was designed to look like this from the start. That is why the proportions still look great. So back here, we do have a 12-volt outlet. We do have some LEDs here on the sides as well. You can fold down 60-40 split of the rear seats if you need more space. For me personally, I would not have any problems fitting whatever I need back here. No problems at all. It's definitely big enough for me, but it is going to be a little bit smaller since we have this raked roofline. But the good news is, in this case, I do like when companies choose or prioritize shape over some part of the functionality, just like we have here. My 11-hour online class in design sketching is now only $47. If you have any desire to pick up the skill of sketching products using simple tools such as a big pen and cheap print paper, this is something you want to check out. Over the years, I've taught thousands of students from all around the world how to sketch cars and products, and most of them have seen amazing results from my classes. Analog Designer Pro Pack is the full bundle of all my classes I've released over the years, and it's yours for just $47. Check out everything that's included and see what my students have to say in the link in the description, or simply visit analogdesignerpropack.com. Now, we talked about the exterior design, and it is, as we said, a beautiful, beautiful design from Genesis, as always when it comes to their designs. But the interior has some very cool features to it. The coolest thing is the rotating little ball right there in the middle when you turn it off and turn it on. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But this is what Genesis does so well. All the small attention to detail that we have. I mean, this feel, for example, to adjust the side mirrors here, it just has a nice solid feel to it. I love the design integrated in the door handle itself. Nice looking door handle, and you have some Alcantara, I do believe this is. Feels like it at least. And same goes for the buttons for the window controls. It's just solid. I mean, Genesis is just on point when it comes to just a quality feel for everything that they build. You have two cup holders down here, bunch of settings for the seats, and the seats themselves heated, ventilated, proper bolstering on them as well. And you also have, of course, all these functionalities down here, power assisted, obviously. Now, jumping in here, let's check this out. In this case, we do have, of course, like every car companies do these days, we have the dual screen setup here, 12.3 inches for the infotainment screen, 12.3 for the gauge cluster right there. It's fine. I mean, do I prefer to have the, for example, the 2023 2024, I think. They switched it out for 2025. This, for example, the GV70, the interior that we had there, with the housing for the gauge cluster, you have a separated screen for the infotainment screen. Yes, I do prefer that layout, but now that we have this, it doesn't really feel like it sticks up too far. It's a decently integrated situation for the GV60. We have a head-up display right in front of us as well. I'm not sure if you can see the numbers right there. Now, we do have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, of course. You have the EV here, for example. Go in and check the range if you want to see that. We also have 3D setup. We can see our GV60 all around in 360 view, and I like to see that it's actually the same exterior color like we have on the actual car. Now we can go into more detail like this, for example, see inside. We can jump inside and see exactly where we're sitting right now, but in this digital space. Very, very cool to see. If we put it into reverse, we do have a 360 camera right there, as you can see. Reverse camera is pretty decent. We also have, again, this 360 view, which I love to see. So you can see exactly where the vehicle is positioned at all times, so you don't, you know, scratch these beautiful 21-inch wheels. So we definitely do not want to do that. Great camera system, as always, from Genesis. Looking fantastic. As I said, the integration here looks decent. We have soft touch material up here, speaker integrated on the top, and we have this cool texture where the vents are integrated in a pretty... This looks almost Art Deco to me, because we have this small texture on this little thing as well, and then we have this beautiful radius. Very Art Deco-like for the styling for the vents. Beautiful. Now, one thing I really love about this interior is that we do have this separated screen down here, obviously, with the climate settings. Looking fantastic. You even have a separated screen dedicated for just the climate settings, where you want the air to blow out from. Very easy to figure that out. Fan speed here, temperature with this knob right there, looking beautiful. Hazard in the middle. We have the start button right here. So check this out. When I turn this off, look what happens to this center portion. Boom! And now we have this crystal ball, so we can see what's going to happen in the future if we turn it back on. Of course, you're gonna swivel back up. Very, very cool. I wonder how much this would be if it breaks to fix this motor or this mechanism, but I don't care because it's such a cool feature. Anyway, now here you have heated and ventilated seats. Let's turn on the ventilated seats. One thing I never seem to learn myself is if the temperature says 70 degrees, 72 degrees or something like that, I say let's go with jeans. But I always regret it, because here in Colorado the sun feels so much warmer than the temperature actually is, and now I'm sweating like crazy because I decided to go with jeans instead of shorts. So that is why we're putting on the ventilated seats right here. You have heated steering wheel right there, camera button, parking sensors, and of course heated ventilated seats for the passenger. I love that you can move the seats back and forth with these buttons right here. This is typical Genesis layout. I think they have it in pretty much every single model, which is great. If you sit back there, you feel you're bothered, annoyed by the passenger, it doesn't give you enough leg room, all you can do is just move them yourself from the back seat. Great to see that. Now we do have different drive modes. We have drive mode button right here on the steering wheel, so press that. You have comfort, eco, and sport. We also have this boost button. This gives you up to, I do believe, 483 horsepower when you press this, which is crazy to think about in a small vehicle like this, but that is what we get with EVs these days. I mean, the horsepower numbers are just out of control. We have a nice looking glove box here as well. Slides out like that. And further back, we have a charging pad in a nice angle, rubberized as well. Opening this up, not the biggest storage down there, but it's totally fine for me. Now look at the steering wheel, 2-spoke steering wheel in this case. Have some buttons right here for the cruise control settings, and we have the voice command buttons and volume knob right here. We can also switch out the info that we want to have in the center portion of the screen by using this little black thing right there. Love the Genesis logo in the middle, and we have paddles on the sides. Of course, this is for the regen braking. As you know, I've said it before, I always like to keep the regen in the max region, so we have one pedal driving. We have the indicator stalk on the left side, then we have the washer stalk right there, as we would expect, obviously, on the right side. We have a full panel sunroof looking beautiful, and this is one detail I also love about Genesis. Look how the LEDs turn on and off. Check this out. Just fading on and off. It's not like abrupt LEDs on and off. It's just a beautiful fade. Details, again, it's all about the small details when it comes to Genesis. This interior, very cozy. I would not mind spending you know, a long road trip driving this vehicle, because it feels very nice in here. And I said it when I reviewed the G90, that I feel like Genesis is one of these brands that when you step into the car, it really feels like the car wants to take care of you when you jump in to the vehicle itself. So let's unlock this and check out the back seats. Now, the good news about EVs, we don't have a transmission tunnel, obviously going to give you a lot more legroom than you would have in a size of this, in a car of this size if it was an internal combustion engine. We do have the shades, you can pull those out right there. Beautiful door handle, Bang & Olufsen sound system, and we have heated seats for the back seats as well in 3 different levels. Same quality feel like I love to see with these buttons. Cup holder right here, beautifully designed. We have more cup holders down there at the bottom. So let's jump in here. Check out the space that we have behind my own driving position, being 6162, no problems. I mean, tons of space back here. Leg space, fantastic. Headroom, also great, which is pretty surprising because when you look at it from outside, there's a very, very sporty design to it. We have 2 USB-Cs right there, as you can see, folding down the center armrest. Of course, we're gonna find ourselves 2 cup holders. I mean, what do you expect? It's a Genesis. All right, guys, let's take the 2025 Genesis GV60 for a drive every single time. That's a beautiful old RX-7, by the way. Classic. Every time I jump into a Genesis, I'm always pleasantly surprised at just how well they're built and the feeling I get every time I jump into a Genesis. It doesn't matter what model it is. After, you know, when they got Donkervolk on board and he started this two-line design, they created this completely brand new design identity for Genesis. They just make fantastic vehicles. That's simple as that. So we got 429 horsepower, and the thing is, yes, I know the car is way ahead of me. You don't have to scream at me, Genesis. It's okay. But the thing is, I feel like you don't need the boost power. So you got 23 or 29 horsepower without the boost, normal driving like this. And then if you press the boost, you get 483 horsepower for a short stint. You got dual motors, of course. 1 motor on each axle, giving you all-wheel drive. That is what we want when we have this type of power. And it 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. I mean, you do not need cars to be faster than that. It would just be ridiculous to put like 600 horsepower in this, because when you floor it, I mean, you are off. You just go, and it's so quiet, it's so comfortable. It has this nice continuous pull to it that feels pretty cool. I mean, it feels, it's hard to make EVs feel special, but I feel like when you're driving a Genesis, they try to make it feel a little bit more luxurious in its power delivery. It's not jerky, it's not like it's punching you in the back or something like that when you step on it. It has a lot of power, but it's still very, very smooth. Good news is, if you're taking this on a road trip, you do have 350 kilowatt fast charging, so it's not gonna take forever to charge up this vehicle, but you also need to be able to find those charging stations to be able to take advantage of the full 350 kilowatt. But I do think the infrastructure is getting better. The big thing that EVs need to work on is going to be the charging times. Because if you're going on a road trip, you just do not want to spend 20-30 minutes every 2 hours charging the vehicle. That is the key, that is the Achilles heel for EVs these days, and I think we're getting better at charging times. But again, then you have to think of how much is that going to degrade the battery if you go faster charging. It's probably going to affect it quite a lot. So that's the only big issue I have with EVs these days, is just the charging times. Everything else, if you buy an EV to just go from point A to point B commuting every day, EVs are fantastic for that purpose. I think they're some of the best vehicles for that purpose, because city driving is going to give you a lot more range than cruising on the highway, of course, with an EV. So that is, and I think also that is what the majority of people are actually using their cars for. You know, just driving around town, you come home, you plug it in, next morning you have a full charge, essentially. So charging times for road trips is something I want to see improved for sure from EVs, but I think that is coming pretty soon. So I mean, this yellow little boost button here is very tempting, so let's press that one. There we go. You can feel a little push of you know, those extra 50 or 60 horsepower that you get when you're pressing it. It also makes this interesting noise when you're pressing it. So power, when it comes to GV60, is there. You don't need to worry about any sort of power deficiency with this vehicle, because you definitely do not need more power than this. I don't know when I would ever need to use the boost button, to be honest. Overtaking is with just normal 429 horsepower is definitely enough. Let's check the cornering here real fast. Handling, pretty decent, not bad at all. I want to say thanks to McDonald Automotive, the entire chain. They have Volvo, they have Mazda over there, Volkswagen over here. I'm in a McDonald Genesis vehicle right now. I'm going to link it down below in the description. This vehicle is, of course, for sale, so if you're interested in this, just click the link down below. And thanks again to McDonald Genesis for letting me review this vehicle, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.